Hey y'all, so today is Sunday, June the 14th, and as you know, I like to do a reading on the week ahead for you guys on Sunday and share it with you to sort of be a guide for you for the coming week. And this week what I did was I drew up a transit chart, and this is it for Greenwich Mean Time for Sunday at 12 a.m. because Sunday is the first day of the week and 12 a.m. is the first minute, second, whatever of the day, and which will set up sort of the energies for the week ahead. And so if you want to look at this chart, I've posted it to my Instagram, and you can find me on Instagram at Carolina_Dean. And so before I start, I also want to just tell you that if you don't know anything about astrology, a lot of this may not make sense to you, but I'm going to be talking about the ascendant, the chart ruler, planets in the first house, planets in the 10th house. I'm going to be talking about aspects, the north node and the south node. So what I want you to get from this really is that all these things are really pockets of energy that are available to you to tap into this week and use. And I'm going to give you a little bit of guidance on how to use some of these energies in this chart. So the first thing I want to talk about is the ascendant. So the ascendant for this week is Aquarius. And Aquarius represents the archetype of the humanitarian. So that is our theme for the week, humanitarianism. How can we as individuals, but more importantly, how can we increase our numbers? How can we come together with like-minded individuals in groups to do humanitarian things, to focus on humanitarian goals? For example, the Black Lives Matter movement is still, going forward. There are protests and demonstrations. Also, not to take away from that, but this is also Pride Month, hence the purple bandana today. And so this is, we want to focus on not just the Black Lives Matter movement. We might want to put some of our energies into the LGBT community to benefit lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transsexuals, queer, questioning, and all the other alphabets that I probably missed. Where was I going? So, we want to pool our efforts. This is not really a time for this individual or that individual to really have to stand up against homophobia, transphobia, biphobia, and racism alone. This is a time for people to come together. If you've been waiting for a time to lift your voice, now's the time to join the chorus and let your voice be heard, but let it be heard with the group of people, because there is strength in numbers. Aquarius is an air sign, and air signs really are talkative, idealistic, intellectual, but they can also be abstract. But this really ties in with the fact that Chiron in Aries is going to be forming a sextile to Venus in Gemini, and these are all good elements of communication, and communication can lead to healing. Chiron in a chart represents our wound, but also how it can be healed. And Venus is the urge to love and be loved. So with Chiron in Aries, there's a wound that is associated with how we see ourselves. And I know many people who are minorities often go through this mindset, and some people get stuck in this mindset that there's something wrong with them. You hear about the teenager with low self-esteem or the self-loathing homosexual. This is your opportunity to be heard, be seen, and to understand that there's nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Your differences make you beautiful. You're not ugly. You're not unwanted. You're not unloved. You need to hear that. You need to speak that to yourself. You need to speak that to other people. Venus in Gemini loves communication. Venus in Gemini is very social. So this might be a good time if you've been dealing with low self-esteem, negative self-talk. This might be a good time to look into joining some type of self-help group therapy, or just getting together with some like-minded people to socialize and lift each other up and make each other, feel better. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is in the 4th house in this transit chart. And so when the chart ruler is in the 4th house, life is oriented towards home and family and your roots. So this is also a good time to get in touch with your roots. Check in with your mothers, your grandmothers, your aunties, or whoever the person was who nurtured you as a child, whether they're male or female. This is a good time to get together with these people, these older people in your family who have lived life and had experiences. This is your opportunity to learn from them, find out about your own family history, and, get grandma's fudge recipe. Get grandma in the kitchen cooking that fudge recipe. Ask her about her parents. Ask her about her grandparents. Learn where you came from so that you can take pride in yourself, your family, your roots, your heritage, and your culture. I know, speaking personally, and I was just having this conversation with my friend Crystal the other day. I've been collecting recipes. My mother sent me some recipes, handwritten, which I put them in my special little box for safekeeping, but I rewrote them into a special notebook I've been keeping where I'm not just writing the recipe, I'm including stories. Like, for example, I think I've told you this before, it was a tradition in our home that on Sundays after church, we'd come home and Grandma would make fried chicken, rice and gravy, and biscuits. And, so I wrote about how we would all sit, I grew up in a time when we sat around the table at mealtime and we talked to each other. And I see a lot of people today that they take their meals in front of the TV and they don't really talk to each other, or the mom and the dad are sitting in front of the TV and the kids are in the bedroom eating with their laptop in front of them or their phone in front of their face, and there's not that sense of family and talking to one another. There's a lack of communication and a lack of connecting. So with the chart ruler in the 4th house, this is your opportunity to connect with your elder relatives, your culture, and your roots. The other thing I see here, which is very interesting, we have Saturn in 1 degree Aquarius. So Saturn is the planet, I see Saturn as kind of like Snape in Harry Potter, and Jupiter is more like Dumbledore. Saturn is a sort of a strict disciplinarian, and Dumbledore is, the wise old grandfather who slips you money or candy and spoils you. And they both feel the same way about you, but they go about how they treat you differently. They both love you, they both want the best for you, but they have different ways of nurturing you. So Saturn seeks out discipline and order. With Saturn in the 1st house, and I'm talking about people in general now because this chart is for everyone. With Saturn in the 1st house, the rose-colored glasses come off, and people can start seeing themselves as they really are, not as they wish them to be. The illusion of self breaks down, and the things that they've been denying about their self, they're confronted with the truth of who they are. And this gives you, but Saturn also gives you the opportunity to make a course correction, to fix the things that you've been doing wrong. And what's interesting is in this chart, we have Scorpio in the 10th house. And the 10th house rules over the public and personal reputation, but we're just going to stick to the public because, again, this chart is for everyone. So Saturn, as I've said before, not Saturn, I'm sorry, Scorpio, as I've said before, represents the archetype of the researcher and investigator. And Scorpio is all about deep transformation. This is change that does not occur overnight. And so what this tells me is that there's a general theme or energy present this week in which people want to change. People are motivated to change, but they don't know how to change. And so they need to teach themselves. They need to be educated. They need to do the research to get the right information in order to help them learn in what ways they need to change and how to go about doing that change. The next thing I want to talk about is the North Node and the South Node. And I believe I talked about this before in my video on how I work with my lunar return chart. So the North Node and the South Node are not planets. They're sort of positions in space that are calculated based on the moon's ecliptic. And they're always 180 degrees from across from one another. They're always in opposition. So in this chart, the North Node is in the 5th house. And the 5th house is all about creativity, self-expression, art, socializing, having fun. And the North Node is about energies, behaviors, thoughts that are outside your comfort zone and which you need to explore in order to grow and evolve. So this is a good week to really tap into your creativity, your self-expression, to find pride in yourself and who you are, and to find your confidence and express it. Now, 180 degrees across the chart, we have the South Node in the 11th house. And this is thoughts, deeds, behavior that represent our comfort zone. It's things that we fall back on. It's instinctual. It makes us feel safe. So with the South Node in the 11th house, I am interpreting this in terms of the coronavirus. You want to let go of pointless socializing, and again, the 11th houses can be about rebellion, so you want to let go of unnecessary rebellion. Guys, this virus is killing people left and right. I know right now wearing masks and practicing social distancing is the new norm, and people are wanting to rebel against that, but this is an unnecessary rebellion. You have to practice social distancing. You have to wear your mask. You have to wash your hands. You have to make good decisions, not just for yourself, but for everybody. You can't keep doing these unhealthy things and expecting it to just go away. It's not going to happen that way. Next, I kind of want to talk about the moon and Jupiter. So in this chart, the moon in Aries is making a sextile, which is a type of aspect to Jupiter in Capricorn. So remember when I said in if you watched it, my video on astrology and the law of attraction, Aries is considered kind of the first sign of the zodiac. So it's a leader, it's an innovator, it's an initiator. So when the moon is in Aries, this is a good time to start something new, to be innovative, to initiate. And the moon is all about our feelings. And Jupiter is about growth and expansion. And Jupiter in Capricorn is growing in a responsible manner, because Capricorn is all about conservatism, being responsible. So making these changes that I talked about with the Saturn in the first house, with the rose-colored glasses coming off and seeing yourself for what you are rather than what you wish to be, making responsible changes are going to make you have greater self-esteem. You're going to value yourself more. And that's going to tie into the whole North Node finding pride in yourself and confidence. All this ties together. Um, let's see, it covered this, that, and the other. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. So, again, I kind of skipped around a lot here. I didn't do a whole lot of pre-planning when I did this video, but again, I want you to think about all these things I talked to you about as being pockets of energy that are available to you this week to tap into and work on yourself. Again, this is a good week to find like-minded individuals, raise your voice, be part of the chorus rather than trying to be the diva. Check in with your older female relatives or whoever nurtured you as a child so that you can get in touch with your roots and your culture. Take a good look at yourself. See yourself as you are, not as you wish to be. Do that research to figure out not only what you need to change, but how you can best change it. And personal growth will lead to greater self-esteem. Anyway, that's my reading for the week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found some kind of value in this. And until next time, make good choices, be good people, and do good things.